Welcome to this episode of the Video Creator Show. I am your host, Grant, and today I am speaking with ToyotaJeff Reviews. ToyotaJeff Reviews is your trusted source for everything Toyota. His goals are to teach you and to entertain you in the process, and there are plenty of pop culture references within his videos. Jeff, thank you so much for being here today. Now, you work in a dealership in the Fred Anderson Toyota, I believe, in North Carolina, and you highlight a lot of details about the cars that you kind of work in and around and sell. And I like how much detail you go into things. Like, you see the car from every angle, from the inside, from the outside, and you highlight things about cars that I feel like get overlooked a lot. Like if there's an interesting trim, or kind of there's an interesting way that the window looks or is shaped, and you'll kind of point that out. And it's very detail oriented, which obviously when it comes to buying a car, is the details are important. I mean, it's a lot of money to buy even an inexpensive car. You know, it's probably going to cost you $20,000 plus. And so I think it's important to really go into detail the way that you do. So with that, Jeff, like, was that kind of your overarching idea to start a channel? Did you feel like maybe there was a lot of car review channels that didn't go into enough detail? Or, let's just hear about your philosophy as a whole.
No, that sounds great. I'm glad to be here, Grant. This is a lot of fun. And I was listening to some previous shows of yours, and it's really amazing. It doesn't matter what the genre or the niche. Everybody has something to share, and everybody has a story to tell. So hopefully I'll be just as interesting, or at least close to some of your other guests. But as far as my philosophy, it's really twofold. I want to be thorough with the car reviews, and I've got kind of a plan of why I did that, but I also want to be entertaining. I happen to think I'm quirky and zany and funny. I have just a twisted sense of humor, which is different from other car reviewers, pretty much every other car reviewer, and I do that with a purpose. I don't want to just do a boring car review, because to me, it would bore me. And I think that's the number one rule of having a YouTube channel or any social media. If you're not into it, then don't even do it. You have to have a passion. It has to keep you interested, because if you don't have enthusiasm and excitement and things like that, nobody's going to tune in. If you won't tune into yourself, then why would anybody do that? You haven't earned the right to get their viewership.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So,
yeah. Passion is huge. And can you, like, what is your relationship to cars? Which is an interesting question, but like, you have this channel based entirely around cars. Have you always been really interested in them? Was this something that sort of developed over time? Where do cars fit into your life exactly? Going all the way back to childhood.
All right, let's go all the way back, and we can speed things up a lot, because I'm not a car guy, which sounds really weird because I have a following for cars all over the world, which is pretty cool, pretty enlightening to show what I can share, considering I didn't grow up that way. My family all worked on cars. They're all great with their hands. They can fix anything. My uncle's called MacGyver. They can literally fix anything, but I just never was into it. I was into sports and video games and hanging out with my friends and things like that. I would watch. But really, outside of college, I've had every type of job, and it's usually involving either marketing, advertising, but mostly sales. I did printing sales. I did orthopedic implant sales. I did pharmaceutical sales. That took up about 20 years of my professional life right there. And we'll call it closer to 15. But I worked with physicians and nurses and hospitals and told them why my implant was better than the next company and things like that, which has nothing to do with vehicles in the least. I got a job when I moved to North Carolina at a car dealership, Fred Anderson Toyota, and I was a salesperson from 2005 until 2019. The last 3.5 years, I've been social media director at my dealership, because they like what I did, and they said, do what you do, just do it for us too. Which is kind of cool. It's the ultimate compliment. I had done sales for so long, but the reason why I started my YouTube channel was because it used to drive me nuts, drive me bonkers, why I would sell a car to a nice family, and then 6 months later I'd see them in the showroom like, oh, I recognize them. Wait, why are they working with my friend? Why didn't they ask for me? Well, as I alluded to earlier, I hadn't earned the right for that. So I thought I didn't get them to remember me, because we have so many different passwords and passcodes and buzzwords we have to remember in our life. Why in the world do we think we're going to remember who sold us a car a year later? In fact, the statistic is 81% of people who buy a car will not remember the salesperson who sold them a car 1 year later. That's 8 out of 10, and that's not a way to build a business. So I wanted to do funny videos that kind of led to my personality. Like it fed off my own personality, just kind of off the wall, really quirky. I thought, I'm going to do recommendations from customers. I worked with Jeff, and it was great, and we'll build it that way. But then I also did parodies. I love parodies because I follow movies and TV and songs. So I would do a Back to the Future one and a Shark Tank one, Star Wars. We had a great production one, and it would get 500 views, a parody, maybe 2,000 views. Then I would start to incorporate little walk-arounds, like, hey, let's look around this 2014 Corolla LE, which is a really base vehicle. There's not much to it, really, other than dependability. So I walked around that one. I remember thinking, gosh, this is getting a lot of views. Maybe that's what people want to see from me. So this is another lesson that I could tell people is don't be afraid to pivot based on what your audience is asking for. They weren't asking for my funny videos. Now, I can incorporate my personality into all my videos. In fact, I insist on it. It's just fun for me, and people, for some reason, seem to like it. But they want to see more about cars. And so that's why I thought the more thorough I got, the more people started to watch.
Mm-hmm. Right, and it seems to do well for you, and especially with YouTube, longer videos do tend to do better, and I think when somebody's looking for a car review, kind of like we were talking about earlier, detail is super important, so you're kind of appealing to the algorithm and to the viewer at the same time when you go into all this detail, instead of having this kind of glossed over review that maybe is a few minutes. Instead, it's, maybe close to 10 minutes or even over 10 minutes in some cases. So clearly this is done well for you, and your dealership likes what you're doing, and like all of this seems to be combining well your social media presence and your your day-to-day professional life. Was it hard to get permission from the dealership originally to use cars in your videos, or was it pretty easy right off the bat? They were like, oh, free advertising.
Well, that's a really good question, and I'll bet if you asked other salespeople, they would say it's very restrictive, very controlled, because you have corporate marketing, or you have to know the message that your company or your dealership is delivering. Does it match what corporate is? We're the family-friendly car. What if you say, hey, I'm Jeff Teague, and I'm at this dealership, and I'm reviewing this? Well, maybe that doesn't fit the corporate image or the dealership image, so they got to kind of control that and make sure you certainly aren't going to shed their dealership in a light that they don't want to be shed in. So for me, I work for probably the best family-run operation. They're just nice Southern gentlemen at Fred Anderson Toyota. They're the friendliest people, and they just said, go for it. They liked what I was doing, and a lot of time I would just do it kind of behind the scenes when I had some free time. A lot of salespeople have free time, and this is where I'll tell you, go out and film a car. Put it on your Facebook, put it on your Instagram or something like that. You might pick up an extra sale, an extra customer, and you might find that you've all of a sudden got yourself a new channel. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how it all starts. And for me, I just did it. And I remember it took me 3.5 years to get my first 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And for anybody who's looking to do YouTube, you know that 1,000. You got to get 1,000 followers and 4,000 watch hours in a year to get monetized. And everybody knows it'll be the promised land. You'll be rich. You'll be rolling in money and things like that. It took me 3.5 years. And I remember my friends would say, you still doing those videos? I said, yeah. And they would do something like, why? And I would say, because I like it. And I know it's going to lead to something. And so it took a long time of, that cliche, blood, sweat, and tears. Well, there was a lot of that. But for me, I was having a blast because I was doing something. Number one, I wasn't comfortable being on camera. So if I look back at my original ones, I was horrible. I was just terrible. I remember the first video I did, I was like, hi, my name's Jeff Teague, and I love Toyota. And I just think, gosh, it's like looking at an old Mr. Beast video. Like, hey, I got 10 subscribers. Look at me. Thanks, everybody. Oh, I got an 11th subscriber. He was terrible. But he didn't plan on being the global phenomenon that he is. And for me, I didn't know where it was going to take me, and I'm certainly not on his level, but you know, it's on a level where people recognize me now in weird places that I would never imagine, and it's kind of taken on a life of its own. YouTube is kind of a rock star profession now, and who would have ever thought that?
Right.
It's strange.
Hey there. You probably know the Video Creator Show is brought to you by VidChops.com. What is VidChops.com? Well, it is an editing service that will take the horrible burden of editing off your back. We all know video editing. It's tedious. It takes forever. But what if you had a professional who did it for you? You go to sleep, you wake up, it's done. Wouldn't that be magical? VidChops.com. Hire a professional, save yourself time and energy, and take your YouTube channel to the next level. Yeah, it really can take on a life of its own, especially when you cross that monetization threshold, and it can feel very legitimizing, I think. And, like, I am curious, so when you post these videos, and people see the videos and they decide, oh, well, I want to go to this dealership and see Jeff. Like, I'm sure that happens. And do you feel like you have to be the guy in the videos, or do you feel like these videos are an accurate enough representation of who you are, just kind of day-to-day, moment-to-moment, that you don't really have to try to be ToyotaJeff? You can just kind of be Jeff, and it's close enough to when you're interacting with people at the dealership.
Well, I'll tell you what, my personality matches real life with my professional life. What you see on camera, a lot of my family will know this. My wife and daughter, they're so sick of me. They're like, why are you singing that Snoop Dogg song all the time? Like, it just flows. Like, for some reason, I'm that guy where, you know, I do love pop culture. I grew up on 80s music, and I love any kind of 80s movie. It doesn't matter what it is, and 90s movies and songs and all that kind of stuff. I grew up on all those things, so I incorporate those into my videos. I'll be talking about the back end of a Camry, and I'll say, I like this big butt, and I cannot lie. Or I'll be quoting Snoop Dogg or something like that. And people, like, you know how you are watching a YouTube video and you comment and you say, at 3 minutes and 42 seconds, I love the Snoop Dogg reference. Well, I get that a lot in my videos. People look for that. So I try to put, it usually flows organically. It's just kind of riffing that way. But I try to put like 3 to 5 references in every video if I can, just so people will want to follow longer. But I get that comment a lot where people say, you're not funny, stop trying to be funny, just do a car review. And I'll just write back, yeah, LOL, my wife feels the same way. I'm just as dorky in person. My personality's not for everybody, but I hope you follow my channel. And so I just go with who I am. And I'm sure a lot of people don't follow me because it's a little over the top. Who wants to read or see a review on a Camry and this guy's singing and dancing and he can't sing and dance? How did that happen? But it's different. Like I said, and I think you alluded to it also, Grant, there are so many different car reviews out there, and I call them boring car reviews. If you want to see a boring, straightforward, straight-laced car review, they're everywhere, and you can find them on your homepage, on your recommended page. It just won't be coming from me, but I'll be thorough as heck for you, and you'll know everything you need to know about a vehicle. But that's
beautiful.
Me.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so is this channel, like, do you mainly use it as a way to kind of showcase cars in the dealership, and then it drives business towards you and the dealership? Or is the channel itself also a stream of revenue for you? Obviously, you are monetized, so you're making some money off of this. But I guess, do you treat it as a business, or is it more of like a hobby that happens to help your day job?
That is a fantastic question. It's the synergistic effect. They both work toward each other, and they both complement each other perfectly. The way my dealership looks at it is, we would like you to post and grow our following, but whatever you're doing on your ToyotaJeff channel is helping our business as well. We have a lot of people who buy, I follow ToyotaJeff, and there's somebody in Texas who's picking up their 4Runner. They're having it shipped to them because they wanted to work for the dealership, or with the dealership that has ToyotaJeff. And so they kind of asked that I would be in an ambassador role in addition to social media, which sounds weird because who am I to be an ambassador? I'm just a regular guy like everybody else. But when you're on YouTube, people see you in a different way. whether it's good or bad, you put yourself out there. So whatever your content is and your personality that you're showing to the world, that's who they see. And so they actually do want to work with me. They want to call, and people get excited to see me. And it's so weird because, like I said, I'm just a regular dude. I'm just, I don't want to say a nobody because that's discounting it, but when they see probably the 1,100 videos that I've done on my YouTube channel and the 500 that I've done on the Fred Anderson Toyota channel, they feel like they know you. And I'll tell you what, if you want to break the ice, go into a car dealership, there's a lot of anxiety when you think, I'm pulling up to this dealership, oh gosh, are they going to be like vultures? Are they going to just latch on to me and, hey, what would it take to get you into this car today? Welcome to the dealership. What do you want? Let's go sit down. Let's talk to my manager. When imagine now you see somebody and they're kind of your friend on a way online because you know them. Like, hey, Jeff, how's it going? It's so great to meet you. I'm like, hey, let's go talk about the Camry. You just broke several layers of ice that way. It's like the don't break the ice game as kids, you know. You don't have to go through the thick layers of ice just to see what happens. They feel like they know you and they trust you and they see you all the time because you're on their screens. It's a different dynamic these days. And YouTube, for some reason, is that type of position where it can be a hobby to a lot of people, which is great. For me, it's my biggest source of my income. And my theory is always have as many revenue buckets as you can have. Got to have as many different revenue buckets over here and over here. My biggest one is YouTube. So for me, it's become a full-time job and a full-time career. But at the dealership, it brings in so much business, which is, I thought it would happen for me personally because that's why I was doing the silly videos. But it brings in just so much business where people will tell the managers or they'll tell the other salespeople, I follow ToyotaJeff or I follow your social media. I love that Star Wars video you guys did. I love the so-and-so. Is Jeff really like that in person? And I get that all the time. And it's just so weird to me. But it's a career on so many different levels from one platform, from YouTube. And then I have just as many, actually I have more people now that follow me on Instagram. So it's just crazy. And I just started TikTok because I believe that you should master a platform before you go to the next platform. Mm-hmm. Sure. That's just a philosophy I've always had is you'll overwhelm and flood yourself and you'll be swimming just to get to the surface. So master YouTube, then go to Instagram, master Instagram, then go to Facebook or TikTok, which I chose TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Right. And so you're running ToyotaJeff Reviews. You also have AutoJeff Reviews, which is a channel where you showcase all kinds of cars from different brands, not just Toyota, of course. And then there's Fred Anderson Toyota. So that's the YouTube channel for the dealership itself. I'm curious about, like, what is your difference between ToyotaJeff Reviews and Fred Anderson Toyota? Obviously, with Fred Anderson, it's less about you, more about the dealership itself, but why the creation of the channel for the dealership itself?
Well, number one, every business should have their own social media because if somebody wants to know more about Fred Anderson Toyota, they're not going to go to ToyotaJeff. Has nothing to do in the name with the dealership. So they would go to Fred Anderson Toyota and they would see where they're involved, how much they do social media. Up until 3 weeks, the decision hadn't come to do TikTok for the dealership. And then I got the go-ahead, and it's really, really popular now. So I'm really proud. It's in the first 3 weeks of Fred Anderson Toyota TikTok, almost 700 followers, over 40,000 likes, and I think we're just about at 3.5 million views in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Because I've learned how to market and how to advertise for a car dealership on TikTok now. I studied it. I watch a lot of videos on how to grow your business on YouTube, how to grow your channel, and I take a lot of tips from a lot of creators. It doesn't have to be automotive by any means. It could be whatever genre they're in. They all have ideas. They've all failed. They've all succeeded. So you take a little bit of every person, and then all of a sudden you can grow in ways you never thought you could. But my 9-to-5 job is as social media director for Fred Anderson, so my loyalty is to them. The great news, it's sort of like an artist when somebody asks a famous artist, they'll say, where was your inspiration from? Like, everything I see, everything around me is my inspiration. Well, when you work at a car dealership, my inspiration is I see a 4Runner TRD Pro. I've learned that you can make 10 pieces of content off of every vehicle. So that's my canvas. The 4Runner is my canvas, and sitting right next to it is a Tundra, and then a Highlander, and a RAV4. When your business is Toyota, it's everywhere. So I can film for the dealership. We film more inventory-related videos there. We do funny stuff because they like the funny too. People, followers. It's got to be interesting because if you just say, look, here's a picture of a Camry. Here's a stock picture from the manufacturer of a Corolla in the distance on a big cliff. Like, we all see those ads, but why not show it in person? Why not show a video of it just driving slowly across the dealership lot? Or we could do, like I did a couple weeks ago, we had a Tacoma parade. We had 12 Tacomas that were on our lot. We put them in a parade and we just lined them up, and then myself and my friend Tia, we were the commentators like we were at the Macy's parade. Hey, look, here comes a Magnetic Ray SR5, and we would just have funny little comments back and forth, and we had a cool piece of content that nobody else would do. So the difference between our two, Fred Anderson Toyota and my ToyotaJeff and my AutoJeff channels, I can take it up to level 9 to level 10 of humor and stupid dancing, and maybe I'm quoting Silence of the Lambs, fava beans and a nice Chianti while I'm talking about the inside multimedia of a Highlander, But I probably wouldn't talk about Silence of the Lambs or Hannibal Lecter when I'm talking about Fred Anderson Toyota inventory, but we would highlight the nice features on it. We just tone it down to about a level 4, level 5.
Right. And then so with AutoJeff reviews, like these are cars from different brands. Like why did you start that channel? Kind of how do you get access to these other cars? And I'm just kind of curious about that as well.
No, really good observation there. You're right. How do you get those other vehicles? Well, number one, I've built a following where I'm very grateful to say that I'm considered a national and international resource in the world of Toyota. If somebody's looking for a car, I've probably done a video on every trim level of every vehicle, and I do it for every model year that comes out, and we just keep rotating because there'll be new features each year. So we've got that content. I have access to Toyota USA sends me press vehicles that I would have for a week at a time to evaluate those and review them. I also go to reveal events. So if there's a new vehicle that comes out, I'll probably be at the launch of it. I'll probably be at the big reveal. I might drive it first with the media. And those all go on my ToyotaJeff channel. That has nothing to do with the dealership at all. Those are completely individual. It's important to separate those two completely. They have nothing to do with each other. But that also goes, as I started my AutoJeff channel, I thought, well, gosh, Toyota is gigantic. It's a huge brand, and it's built me a following. I love it. But imagine if you could review every brand in addition to that. How big would that pie be then? So it's a risk to start a second channel. It's a very big risk because it's hard to do. I thought, foolishly, in a naive way, that my 140,000 followers would all come over, not as many. I thought they'd come to AutoJeff. Well, got a big slap across the face because that's not how it works. I got about 700 followers come over immediately the first day. Those are car enthusiasts. They wanted to do a favor for me. As a person who has a YouTube channel, of course you can ask them, hey, I started a new channel, come over to my channel. I thought, well, I'm going to get 3,000 to 5,000 the first week. It didn't happen that way at all. And that was just a learning lesson for me, is not everybody's going to do what you ask them to do because maybe they're not interested in that. They just want the Toyota brand. So I've got a nice following. We're getting closer to, I think, 9,600 followers. I should be at 10,000 followers on that one by the end of May. And I get press vehicles also because other manufacturers send me their vehicles now to review, and just really nice people in the public relations and the communications departments and the fleet departments. And if I can present their vehicles, it's really interesting to see what else is out there because, let's say you love dogs your whole life and then somebody said, hey, go pet a cat. Well, it's the same thing as if you know everything about Toyotas and all of a sudden you're looking at Hondas and Hyundais and Subarus and Kias and Nissans, the whole world is different. The multimedia is different. You'll find a lot of cool bells and whistles and gadgets and just cool things about their vehicles. The styling is different. It's really interesting to me to see what else is out there and compare those either on their own exclusively or against Toyota. And people seem to like that channel. And I still incorporate my weird humor, but it's growing very, very slowly. It's almost like a grassroots movement. I think I'll probably get maybe between 600 and 1,000 new followers every month now, which is good. It's just I got to temper my expectations. Remember, it took you 3.5 years, Jeff, to get 1,000 followers on ToyotaJeff. You got that in 3 weeks on AutoJeff. So remember, you're well above where you want to be. It's just I'd love to be at 100,000 already. But for me, it's just producing steady content. I can go to other dealerships in the area and ask to review their vehicles. Not every dealership knows you and trusts you and wants you to review their vehicles because, again, corporate messages, we haven't built a trust with you yet. I've got about 5 or 6 different manufacturers who will let me review the cars because it helps them with publicity. It's a win-win for them. I certainly wouldn't embarrass their dealership. I'm only there to highlight the features and the technology and the pricing and everything that's great about their brand. That's what I do, is I want to tell people who are interested in whatever vehicle it is, it doesn't matter the brand or model, I want to help you buy a car, or if you've bought a car, learn more about it. That's what I do. So it's evolving. It's just really slow, and it's not frustrating. I'd say I get anxious to grow faster. Mm-hmm. So that's a big learning curve for me, and it's a huge risk.
Well, and also AutoJeff reviews, so it has 9.6 thousand subscribers, and the views on it are very good for how many subscribers there are. So, a video will get anywhere from 600 views to 16,000 views, or even more than that. And that's actually a sign of a very healthy, dense channel. So I think you have a really solid foundation for this channel, and that's a good place to be. Obviously, like ToyotaJeff, there are over 100,000 subscribers, and it just has a bit more of a reach overall, of course. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to have less, your subscriber to view ratio on AutoJeff reviews arguably is actually better than your subscriber to view ratio on ToyotaJeff. But it's kind of good to have both, I think, where you have this large reach and then you have this other kind of smaller seed channel that is growing a bit more densely. And I think that is good. I think that's a good thing.
Wow, that's really interesting. And actually, you've given me a little bit of adrenaline boost there. It's nice to see that, because you would look at a different analytic than I would look at. I might just look at how are the views doing, how is the advertising revenue doing, the subscribers, how are they growing. But like you said, it's building a loyal following, and we just got to keep producing good content that people like. I don't want to ever assume that people will just follow a channel because of me. I would like them to, but not every personality is for everybody. And I understand that a lot of people won't like my channel, and I'm okay with that. I've got a lot thicker skin than I used to have for all the YouTube comments, and 95% of them are really good. Then you get the 5%. Well, I used to focus on the 5%, but like you said, I should focus on the rich, dense following that I have, and look at that as a victory, that I'm on the right path. And I just want to do good for people. I just really want to entertain them, and I really want to just help people, because it's a huge purchase like you alluded to. Why can't I be involved in that? And I love knowing that I've helped somebody make a big decision and they feel good about it.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And so I'm curious, how has being successful on YouTube affected your day-to-day life? Obviously, it brings in more customers, but also, how do you feel on the inside? Do you wake up in the morning and you're happier? Do you, is this a creative outlet that you previously didn't have, and that feeds your soul in a certain way? How has this changed your perspective on life in general, if at all?
It actually has changed it a lot, and for maybe reasons that you wouldn't imagine. My kids are 25 and 23 now, but I remember when I started a YouTube channel, you know how dads like to get under their kids' skin and things like that, and just say funny, silly dad jokes. A lot of people know me for my really corny dad jokes that seem to pop up in my videos. When my kids say, I would say, "Hey guys, I'm a YouTuber." They're like, "You're not a YouTuber, Dad. Come back to us when you get 1,500 followers." So, and this was years back, but I remember that, and I said, "Hey guys, I got 1,500," and my son said, "Get back to me when you get 5,000." I'm like, all right, well, that's my new goal. You know, my kids were my inspiration, and now my daughter just said, she just said, "I can't believe you just came back from a trip in Kentucky where you spoke in front of 100 people on how to grow their car dealership social media from zero." And I was asked to do that. I've never spoken in front of that many people in my whole life, but people follow me. That was for car dealerships, car GMs, managers, social media people, and I was invited to talk at a big workshop, and boy, things have come full circle. I mean, I remember when I got my 100,000 followers on YouTube, and I got that play button in the mail, and it's just something silly like that. You get a plaque from YouTube. Wow, 100,000 people want to follow you. Like, it's very humbling. It's very awesome. And I don't want to not celebrate. I always tell my kids, celebrate little victories in life. You don't have to be good at everything, and you're going to have a lot of bad days. We'll just focus on, hey, look, we did this good today, or something really good happened. Focus on the little things. It'll help your confidence. It'll help your self-worth. And you just build on little tiny stepping stones of positive things in your life. You'll feel so much better. But when I got 100,000 followers that day, my wife and daughter had set up balloons from Party City, and it said 100, and I came in completely shocked. I didn't know that they were really even that invested in that. And it was really cool. And just a couple little things. I do car reviews. I think if you don't know Toyota, you're not going to know me. Well, my wife and I needed new screen protectors, so we went into the Verizon store, and the gentleman there, who was helping us, he said, "Have you been in here before?" And he was holding out on me because he knew exactly where I was from. I said, "Yeah, I was, but I don't think I've worked with you." He goes, "I know you're from somewhere." I was like, "Oh, here it comes, you know." And he said, my wife said, "Maybe from YouTube?" And he goes, "Yeah, that's right. You've got you do car reviews, right?" I said, "Yeah, ToyotaJeff." And then he starts really goes, "I love your sense of humor when you quote the movies and this and that. And when you, because I film a lot right at Raleigh-Durham Airport, so they land like a mile from where I am. So I've learned to embrace that, and I'll just say, well, the Camry's got these plane, and I'll just point up to a plane because why stop? Just embrace it." And he'll say, it's so funny when you say plane. I was like, dude, you were holding out at me. You know exactly what my channel is. And then I gave him advice on how to start his photography channel. So he thought it was kind of serendipitous that we would meet. And so I hope I helped inspire him. The other story I had is when we went from Raleigh to Kentucky. So we boarded the flight, and you know how the flight attendant waits there right by where the pilots sit. And so, "Welcome to American Airlines. Welcome to Delta. Have a good day. Thanks for being here." This guy, the flight attendant, he looked at me and he was smiling. I'm like, he's going to say welcome, and I'll say welcome. He said, "You're on YouTube." He goes, "You're ToyotaJeff." And I was like, wow. And then I look at my wife. She's in front of me just getting onto the plane, and I just see her shaking her head like, seriously? And so the guy came back and he said, "I bought my RAV4 because of your videos. I just love them." I was like, wow, that is amazing. That just happened. So
wow,
it's weird. It has changed my life. I don't have 1 million followers. I don't have the biggest channel, but it's big enough where people recognize you, and I never would have expected that. It's surreal. Like, somebody notices me. I wasn't that popular in high school and college. I mean, I had a friend circle, but people recognize me from all other countries, from other states. It's it's so fun. And I've always learned that you embrace that. I just try to be me. I'm genuine. I try to be sincere because that's kind of how I am. I'm just kind of humble. But boy, it really makes you feel great inside when somebody recognizes you. It's just like, wow, you know me? It's crazy. Crazy,
right.
Grant.
Yeah, I'm sure it's really validating. And I mean, I've gotten recognized a few times in public as well, and it's like, there is something about it where it's like, oh, well, I guess I'm doing something right, huh? Like, it does
yes.
make you feel like the cool kid in school, right?
No, it really does. And like I said, I would love to have bigger expectations, and I do. I would like for my AutoJeff channel to surpass ToyotaJeff. So once I produce consistent content with my same wacky sense of humor, not everybody will watch it, but enough people might, because cars, people are nutso. They're bonkers over cars. One example or one statistic I saw is that people research vehicles online for about 13 hours before they even go to their first car dealership.
Wow,
So,
that's a lot of time.
It is, and the biggest source of that is YouTube now. So I try to satisfy people's craving for more and more and more about cars, and it's a lot of people who just want to watch cars. So if they happen to see my personality and it doesn't turn them off right away, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that anybody wants to follow my channel, but it's really cool. Like I said, I'm part of somebody researching. You know, they always say that besides a house, that's your biggest investment that you'll make, unless you buy like a big RV. But you're spending a ton of money, and you don't want to have post-purchase regret. So I just love being able to help people, and yeah, you get noticed now. It's really cool. It's just a whole big dynamic, and it really has changed my life. Not like a huge look at me, I'm a celebrity, but the fact that I know that I've done something that not a lot of people can do, because look how many people try to start YouTube channel, and somehow I've developed some tips and strategies. It's like Liam Neeson in Taken. I've developed a certain set of skills,
right?
And and they're like, good luck. Well, good luck to anybody on YouTube, because it takes learning and passion, and you just got to keep trying. You got to be persistent. If you believe in it, then just keep doing it. And that's what I did, and I'm just so thankful for everything.
That's wonderful. And like, so you give talks about how to grow specifically a car dealership channel. So yes. I'm curious, like, what do you think is the most important piece of advice for growing either a car dealership channel or just a channel in general?
No, I wish I had Jeff's set of 10 rules, but I'll bet I could come up with 10. The number one thing is just start it. Do something that you're passionate about, that you believe in, and you have to believe that you're going to keep up with it, because you're not going to get 100,000 followers in the first month. You'll probably have 10 and 20, and the way you start that is you tell your family and friends, look, I've got 5 videos on cooking. I've got 5 videos on how to build a pond in your backyard, how to do car reviews. Anything you like is a passion. Here's about guitar. I teach guitar. Why not do it on YouTube? Just make a video. The hardest thing you'll ever do is getting started. The second thing is, once you've made that commitment, you got to come up with a channel name. That's really hard to do. Just make it simple, easy for somebody to remember. If I do my initial car name, it was Jeff Teague Fred Anderson Toyota Salesperson. Who's going to go to that? But they would remember ToyotaJeff. So again, that's learning. But what you have to do is short, impactful videos. You have to either entertain people, or you have to teach them something or show value. So maybe you can do both, but I would say a car dealership should be true to what they want to do. In other words, if your philosophy is family values, then do that. If you're like a shock jock on the radio, hey, we're at XYZ dealership, come to us, we're crazy, we're selling cars at ridiculous prices, well, then you can do those type of videos. But you can do pictures of just little walk-arounds of cars, just little short things. You can do the vertical videos. They're so easy to do on Instagram and TikTok, and now the YouTube Shorts videos. Just do little ones. Just show the front end of a car and ask people a poll question. Does that look good in red or not? And then people love answering poll questions. Do that on your stories and your Shorts stories and your Facebook stories. Do those little tiny things. Just get people to be involved, and like, oh, wow, they did a Win It Wednesday. Give away a hat, My wife will fill out all sorts of things online, like, share, comment, to win like a bag of tea, or this pottery collection or something like that. People will do that about cars too. Wouldn't you want to win a Toyota hat or a Toyota mug or something like that? Just do a quick, easy giveaway, and then as you do more and more and more people will follow. You'll get more engagement, more reach, and then you'll build your following that way. But yeah, just show off the cars. Just show off what you do. It doesn't have to be a 20-minute video. In fact, it shouldn't, because people have such short attention spans. I think if you're doing a long video, you should change, at the very longest, change the angle every 30 seconds. If you have enough patience and commitment and persistence to change it every 10 seconds, then do that, because that'll help people stay on longer. If I'm at this angle and then I go to this angle and then I go to the right and then you do it from above, then you show the car and then back to me, people are more likely to stay on because of our short attention spans. So you got to feed into that. If you can get somebody to smile or hate you or love the vehicle, it doesn't have to be a positive emotion. If you can get some sort of a reaction or make somebody feel something, or sadness or happiness or exuberance, that's what you need to do. Produce a reaction, an emotion, and then people will feel more emotionally invested in your channel or your page on YouTube or Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and they might follow you and they might stick around. So you just entertain and show value. Be a resource.
Right. Yeah, very concisely put, and it really does come down to being entertaining and not filling things with fluff, but also like, yeah, adding those camera angles and cutting to different angles consistently enough to where it keeps things interesting. And like, was that something that you had to figure out over time, or were you initially like right off the bat aware that like the more times I cut or do something kind of interesting, the better?
I follow a couple different people. One is the obvious one, Mr. Beast, and he says people have an attention span of 8 seconds. So if you watch his videos, a lot of times they're changing camera angles every 8 seconds. Sometimes it's a little bit longer if it's interesting. But for me, imagine I'm filming the front end of a car. Well, now I've learned, instead of just me talking for 2 minutes straight, I'll do a B-roll footage where I'm talking, and then all of a sudden now I'm angling from the left side, and then I'm panning from the left to the right across the front of the vehicle. Just try to mix it up. Even though I'm still talking, you're looking at different images. I have a buddy, TRD John, and he does what I do, car reviews, just for off-roaders and body-on-frame vehicles. Well, he has started doing more compelling camera angles and thumbnails that are more interesting than what I was doing. So I've picked up a lot of tips from him too. We both we compete with each other because we have a Toyota market, but we're best friends, so we build off of each other. And you just got to look at the people that are doing what you do and just follow cooking channels and see what they're doing. And you don't want to ever copy what somebody's doing, but you can take an idea from what they're doing. Like, oh yeah, they're doing camera angles, they're doing B-roll footage, they're doing humor, they're doing this. And I haven't seen anybody try to mimic what I'm doing, because it takes somebody who's kind of a little bit out of it to like off the wall to do a humorous car review. But hopefully people pick up what I do and just maybe one little tip and say, oh, I can incorporate that into my videos. Maybe people will follow you, and I hope it does. I want you to succeed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really a learning process. Like, things kind of change over time, right? Like, the more you pick up, the more inspiration you get, the more you're able to kind of incorporate into your own videos. And it's, like, I'm sure that's a lot of fun, too. Like, you get to just get creative with it, get weird with it, and somehow you've managed to, like, bolster your finances and your creativity kind of all at the same time. And that's sort of the beauty of YouTube. And did you ever struggle, like, so some people, they start seeing some success and then they try really hard to start fitting a certain mold where they think, okay, well, I should do what Mr. Beast is doing, or I should do what this person is doing. And they sort of like cut themselves off around the edges, and in an attempt to become more palatable to like the masses, so to speak. Like, did you ever feel compelled to do that? Or have you just kind of been shooting straight the whole time?
I've always been kind of flying my own flight path, so I have learned from other people. Like, I make longer form videos now, and I used to keep them 5 to 8 minutes. Now that YouTube can put an advertisement in the middle of a video that has 8 minutes or longer, I try really hard to make my videos at least 800 or longer. If it's a 7-minute video, I'll try to shoot a different scene that might have an extra minute or two in there, because it helps my income. And I hope it doesn't annoy people too much, but that is how we creators get paid, is if you watch, just let the ad play. If you appreciate what an advertiser's doing or what a creator's doing, go get a drink You know, just go get a drink, use the bathroom while the ad's playing for 30 seconds, and then come right back. It helps the creator out tremendously. 0.07, 0.003 cents per ad or something like that, but they all stack on top of each other. So you're helping the creator by watching those ads, even though they're annoying. Just try it. If you have a favorite channel, help them out. Help a brother out. But for me, yeah, I've learned over the years. I've got a really cool idea that I want to do that involves. I got it from an idea when I was doing karaoke in New York, and I'm not a singer, but they had what was called the karaoke wheel of death. And what they meant by that, it sounds crazy, right? So you go in there and they call your name. Up next, Jeff Teague, you spin 2 wheels. You spin, it lands on number 7. Well, the DJ picks the 7th CD out, and then you have to play the 3rd song off of that one. So you don't know what you're going to sing. Luckily for me, I got Billy Joel's song, so I at least knew that a little bit. So that was something I got, and I thought, boy, if I could incorporate a random challenge at the beginning of some of my videos where I spin, hey guys, I'm spinning the car wheel of doom. This is my challenge wheel. I haven't named it yet. I got to buy the wheel, but I want to spin it, and then whatever it lands on, I have to do it. I have to incorporate 3 80s songs into my thing, or I have to do 5 romantic comedy references, or 5 Adam Sandler movies. That would be cool, because I think people would want to follow that. Like, what's he going to do? How's he going to get that in there? That's a lot of references. And then we'll have a couple punishments too that might land on, like, I don't know, something like somebody has to smash you with a cream pie in the face at the end of the video, or something weird happens. I like that idea, and I want to try it and just see. It could fail miserably, but I'm not afraid to do something ridiculous to see if people will like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, beautiful. So what is something that you have struggled with along your YouTube journey, and how were you able to, like, how do you deal with it? Like, for instance, some people struggle to put out videos consistently. They feel like they're starting from 0 every time. So that's like one thing kind of day to day that a lot of people I've spoken with deal with. What's something you deal with, and how, like, what are your strategies for kind of getting around it?
My biggest struggle is I have a lot of content that's even filmed right now, but I run through the struggle of, number one, editing takes a long time, and I do most of it myself. My daughter helps me too when she can, but editing is just a grueling process, and you want to make it a good finished product because you don't want people to look at it and then tune off within 5 seconds because something was off. The audio was bad lighting, the sun was in the way of the scene. That's hard. And also I've experienced several bouts of burnout where I film too much. People would probably like to have a video every day on my channel. That's really hard to do. It's really hard to keep up with. I've tried it, and then I get burned out, and I'll see I've gone 7 days without doing a video. And for my channel, people will stop watching, and the subscribers will go down, and the views will go down. And so I struggle with the right number of videos to do. I think a sweet spot might be 4 or 5 per week for me. And on ToyotaJeff, I'd love to do 3 to 4 as I get into it. But the addition of YouTube Shorts videos might help a little bit. I'm struggling with that one, and maybe other people who have YouTube channels are struggling with this too, so maybe you can all help me out in the discussion. What do you do when you now have access to short 60-second or less vertical videos? Number one, if you start lacing your videos, sticking in a vertical one every 2 or 3 horizontal longer form videos, will people say, oh, I don't like how his channel's going. We're used to the longer videos. We're going to tune out. We're going to unsubscribe. So what if they don't like that format? The other risk I run is, let's say people are used to me doing 8 to 15-minute videos. Now they see, remember, short attention spans, so they see a 34-second video. I like that better. What if they don't watch as long on the longer ones because I've gotten them used to on my channel showing shorter ones that maybe have a little bit more impactful, like shorter attention span. Boom, there's the information. You got all you need. Will they still watch? And I think there's a place for everything in there, so that might help with the burnout. I can do, on the days that I don't do a longer form video, I can film a 50-second summary, a quick shot, or a 60-second review of a Camry, and maybe people would like that too. So maybe I can satisfy both markets, but I'm definitely struggling with that right now. I don't know what to do. So we'll see how that evolves.
Yeah, short form content is interesting because you're right. It's possible that people could start watching your shorts and then think, well, why would I watch a long form video? However, in my opinion, they offer different things. Like a short is a brief summary or like a very quick idea, right? Whereas the long form ones they go into a lot of detail and they're a longer experience and there's more information in them. So I think they offer enough of a different thing to where you're not going to split your audience necessarily. I think with shorts in particular, if somebody sees a short but they've never seen your long videos before,
Right.
and they like the short, then they might end up checking out your longer videos. So in that sense, shorts can be a form of organic advertising for your longer videos. And I think and you touched on this as well, it's really a matter of volume. So I think if you started releasing one short a day, but you were only putting out one long per week, then your channel could end up getting too short heavy, and you might attract too many people who do actually have too short of attention spans. Whereas I think if you kind of limit the number of shorts on your channel, maybe to a couple a week, maybe 3 a week, I'm just kind of throwing out numbers here. But basically, as long as the balance is not too far in the direction of shorts, I think overall it would just help your channel.
Yeah, that's great advice. I appreciate that. I think I'm going to try doing just what you said and find a happy medium there. And if anybody wants to follow my channel, you'll see a combination of both of those now, and we'll see what happens with the channel. But I've seen a lot of people online saying they do the 30-day short challenge where they try to post. You've probably seen this, Grant, where they say, I'm going to post one short video every day for 30 days and see what happens. And some have had success around, it looks like around like day 20 to 30, right in that range, where it picks up a little bit, it might drop, and all of a sudden, boom, you just picked up all these views and all these followers. The algorithm just somehow grabbed it and ran with it. And those people now might get directed to your previous shorts. That's something I'm very intrigued by, to see if I could do that. I've tried that, and it hasn't quite worked out because of me. I'm the limitation. I think, oh, well, it's 7 o'clock p.m. I don't have a short video for today. So now I'm back to, it's like when you do a workout challenge one a day, like on day 7, like I can't do a workout. Well, you got to go back to day 1. So now I got to start my 30-day YouTube short challenge again back at day 1, because I want to see that experiment for me and see if it really works. But if I skip a day, then I don't get to see the true results.
Right. Yeah, it's consistency is key for sure, and sometimes you do have to figure out like what your level of consistency is. Like, in one way to do that, as you were talking about, just set a goal. I'm gonna make a short every single day for a month, and then how does that feel? Like, chances are you're sort of pushing further than you would want to do indefinitely, but you might get a better idea of how long it actually takes you to make a short, how much energy it actually takes you, and how it affects your channel in particular. Because I think one thing to keep in mind with shorts also is, how similar is the content? Like, if you think there's a sort of organic crossover between your shorts and your long form videos, then that would be huge. For instance, this was somebody I was consulting with, and their shorts were videos of just kind of them talking, and whereas their long form videos were these sort of long meditations that were really relaxing and kind of highly edited, and there was kind of too much of a difference between their shorts and their long form videos, so their audience was kind of split and they weren't seeing crossover. But I think one thing you're doing right is it seems like your content is similar enough between the two types of content where like you are going to have a natural crossover between your audience. So that's my 2 cents, and I think overall you're running the channel well.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think you're right. Both of those things can complement each other. If I film a 15-minute video of, we'll use a Camry again, of a Camry XLE, we'll do a red one. And why can't I show a short video of a white colored vehicle that's exactly the same, because I can't do a long form video of here's a red Camry, here's a white Camry, here's a black Camry. There are a lot of different color choices, and that's something that goes into somebody's decision. Like, I don't want to, I've seen the white colored one, the red, the black, the gray. I don't want those. Oh, wow, I didn't know that blue one was available. Look at how it looks in green. Maybe they like bright colors like my mom does on her cars. So wouldn't it be cool to have short videos showing this is what Camry looks like in beige. This is what 4Runner looks like in green and lunar rock color or in midnight black metallic. Just a short video so you can see that color option. Or, hey, did you guys know that there's a cockpit red interior in a Camry? That doesn't have to be a 15-minute video. It can be a 30-second video, but now somebody has another tool for their research.
Right.
And they didn't have to look in an online brochure. And you usually at car dealerships, you see little dots of what the palette looks like. And that's all you're going to get. Sort of like going to Lowe's to look at paint swatches. You know, you get a little square of several different blues. But if you had a video of it driving toward you and you see it from the back and from the side, like, okay, I like that, but I didn't know you had that. That would be a great video, and it has nothing to do with the long form video. So I like what you're saying, Grant.
Right. Well, thank you, Jeff. And this has been a really great conversation. I really appreciate you being here. And I guess we've kind of reached the end of our hour here. And is there anything you'd like to leave people with? Like somebody who's starting a channel, maybe a pep talk, or you kind of already gave your golden rule. But yeah, what would you like to leave people with?
I would say YouTube. We'll use YouTube as an example, but you can use this interchange, TikTok, or Instagram. Those are the three big ones right now. Is just go ahead and do it. I talked to somebody the other day, and he said he started the channel. He has about 20 followers, and they're all his family. He uses YouTube because it's an easy way for him to share links with his family. His dad lives overseas, send videos of his grandkids. So that's a different use of YouTube. You can keep in touch with your family and friends. You can just do something that you're interested in, and it's another form of creative outlet. There are so many creative people out there now. Look how many hours we spend scrolling through our phones now. If you go to a restaurant, half the people are on their phones now, which is kind of embarrassing, but that's what we're doing now. You know, where they're sitting on their couches and they should be communicating with each other, but instead they're communicating with people they see online. So wouldn't it be cool if you were one of those people that they scrolled and they stopped and they watched and you actually made their lives better for 30 seconds that day or for 5 minutes that day? It's a really cool feeling. So I'd say if you've got the interest and you don't think you're going to give up after just a few videos, because I've seen it happen with my family and friends, just try to stick it out. Keep doing it, and maybe you can just find a side of you never knew you had in you. And it's really cool. It feels great. You'll feel better about yourself. Who knows? It could become a career. You just never know what social media is going to do for you. It's a powerful machine, so just jump on board if you want.
Right on. Well, hey, Jeff, I love that. I think that is a really great philosophy of kind of capturing people's attention in a positive way that feels more than just kind of blindly scrolling, shall we say. So, yeah, everybody, try to keep that in mind when you're making things, and I think you'll make the world at least a little bit better, at least social media a little bit better. And with that, Jeff, thank you for being here. And viewers, thanks for being here. I will see you in the next one.
Thanks, Grant. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.